Hello my dear students. So in my last class I was explaining about two important types of rearrangement reactions, so which involves phenols as the starting materials. So that was the first one is Fries rearrangement. So in this phenyl acetate was used as a starting material. It is a phenyl ester. So what does the Fries rearrangement explains about? So it is when a phenyl ester is heated with anhydrous aluminum chloride. So anhydrous aluminum chloride will act as a catalyst here. So what happens? So the acyl group, that is a COCH3 group, so it will migrate to ortho or para position to form phenolic ketones. Okay, so this reaction is called as Fries rearrangement. And what we observed was, so this is a temperature dependent reaction. Where, what does it means? So it means that so the para attack of the benzene ring by the acylium ion which takes place, ortho isomer will be the major product at lower temperatures. Suppose if we carry out the Fries rearrangement reaction at lower temperature, so definitely the product what we are going to get. So here in this reaction the product is hydroxyacetophenone. Okay. So suppose if the reaction is carried out in lower temperatures, so then we are going to get ortho hydroxyacetophenone. Whereas, so the para isomer, that is para hydroxyacetophenone, predominates at higher temperature. That means if the reaction is carried out at higher temperature, so the product obtained will be the para hydroxyacetophenone. Okay. So this is what Fries rearrangement briefly explains about, and the next rearrangement what we saw was the Claisen rearrangement. So as I said in my previous class, so this is a very important rearrangement reaction which we see with the help of taking the phenols as a starting materials. So in this type of rearrangement, so what happens is, so when allyl ether of phenol is heated to about 473 Kelvin. So here the rearrangement is going to take place, so to give allyl alcohol. Okay. So the mechanism says that so the rearrangement involves the cyclic mechanism. So why it is called as a cyclic mechanism is because, so here we observe a inversion of the allyl group during the rearrangement. So that means, so the carbon atom at gamma position to the ether oxygen, it gets attached to the aromatic nucleus at ortho position, and thereby forming a cyclic inversion or cyclic mechanism to give the product that is orthoallyl phenol. Okay. So this is what is Claisen rearrangement. So in this session we are supposed to discuss about Gattermann synthesis and another is Mannich reaction. Okay. So if time permits, we will also discuss about aryl oxyacetic acids. So first Gattermann synthesis, let us concentrate on Gattermann synthesis. What is meant by Gattermann synthesis? So Gattermann synthesis is explained as, or it is a type of reaction which involves phenol. When phenol is treated with a mixture of hydrogen cyanide HCN, hydrogen cyanide, and hydrogen chloride hydrochloric acid HCl in the presence of anhydrous aluminum chloride, para hydroxybenzaldehyde is obtained. So this reaction is called as Gattermann synthesis or Gattermann reaction. So how the name came, Gattermann synthesis or Gattermann reaction, is it is named after a German scientist, his name is Ludwig Gattermann. So the Gattermann reaction can also be defined as a method of formylation of aromatic ring compounds. So why we call it as aromatic or formylation of aromatic ring compounds? So this is because, so in this reaction which is also known as or known by the names of Gattermann salicylaldehyde synthesis, so as well as Gattermann formylation, this is because the Gutterman reaction is similar to the Friedel-Crafts reaction that you can observe here, because the catalyst which we are going to use in Friedel-Crafts reaction is the same which we are going to use in Gutterman reaction. That means anhydrous aluminum chloride, you all are familiar with Friedel-Crafts reaction. So, there also the reaction carry outs in the presence of anhydrous aluminum chloride. So, in the same way, so in Gutterman synthesis also we are going to use the same catalyst. So, Gutterman reaction is used for obtaining chlorobenzenes or bromobenzene from benzene diazonium chloride by treating with it with the copper or hydrochloric acid or copper with hydrogen bromide respectively. Okay. So, this is some basic aspects of Gutterman synthesis, and this is a simple reaction which explains Gutterman synthesis. So, now let us understand how the mechanism of reaction is going to be happen. So, the mechanism involves electrophilic aromatic substitution with the attack of formal diiminium ion. So, that is why see here what happens is when hydrogen chloride comes in contact with the hydrogen chloride. Okay. So, when hydrogen cyanide and hydrogen chloride are reacted with each other, we are going to get a product which will be in the ionic form, which is also called as formal diiminium ion. So, the reaction proceeds in this way. How? It takes up electrophilic aromatic substitution. So, hydrochloric acid in its dissociated form, it forms H plus and Cl minus. Okay. So, this we all know. So, when hydrogen cyanide combines with the H plus of hydrochloric acid which has been formed. So, here we can see similar resonating structures which is going to form in the hydrogen cyanide. Okay. So, that means so here the electrophile H plus, so it can exist in two dipolar states. That means so the positive charge which will be situated in the nitrogen can get rearranged by changing or moving its positive charge towards the carbon. So, here the triple bond is going to be get converted into a double bond. Okay. So, this is a rearrangement or intramolecular rearrangement we can say it. So, when the charge is going to transfer from nitrogen to carbon, so we are going to get two different resonating structures and this might be called as formal diaminochloride. Okay. So, this is a formal diaminochloride. So, this is when hydrogen cyanide combines or reacts with hydrochloric acid, so the product which what we are going to get will be the formal diaminochloride. Formal diaminochloride is obtained. So, next what happens? So, the formed formal diaminochloride will again react with the aluminum chloride. So, aluminum chloride is a catalyst. When aluminum chloride comes in contact with formal diaminochloride, so what happens here is, so here we can see a transition state is going to be formed as an intermediate product. Here clearly, so the dipolar nature, that is this is delta negative and delta positive. So, here it has not been represented that much clearly. So, if you see it in the textbook, so this is clearly understood. Okay. So, here the polar nature, that is delta plus and delta minus will be formed, which will be in a transition state. The electrostatic force of attraction between this formal diaminochloride and aluminum chloride will generate a dipolar nature in this intermediate product. And next what happens? So, here this bond is going to get broken down, thereby forming a formal diamino ion. So, this is what let me call it as A. Okay. So, this is a ion which is called as a formal formal diiminium ion. Okay. And what is left? So, aluminum tetrachloride, that is AlCl4 will be left. So, these are the initial steps what it is going to happen. Suppose if you imagine a practical reaction how you are conducting, say for example, you have taken a beaker. So, to that beaker first what you will do? So, you will take hydrogen cyanide. To that hydrogen cyanide, when you add hydrochloric acid, what happens here? So, hydrogen cyanide and hydrochloric acid, they both will react with each other, thereby form a formal diaminochloride. Next what you will do? So, when formal diaminochloride is formed, so to that you are going to add aluminum chloride. When you add aluminum chloride, so there exists a intermediate state where we can clearly distinguish between the polarity, the dipolar nature, delta plus and delta minus. As the reaction proceeds, so it completes the reaction, thereby forming formal diamino ion along with the AlCl4 minus. So, at this stage what we are going to do? We are going to add phenol to this. So, when we add phenol to this, so the aluminum chloride, so this is going to form intermediate product. So, that will react with the formal diiminium ion which has been formed in the previous step. Okay. So, this product, so this is going to react with the formal diiminium ion which I called as A. So, here the rearrangement is going to take place. What is that? So, here double bond has been formed, that is because the lone pair of electrons which is present in this oxygen. So, this will return towards this, observe the arrow marks, so that it forms a double bond. And so, this formal diiminium ion, it attacks the para position, thereby forming a aldimine which I call it as B. Again further, so here double bond has been broken to form a hydroxy group, and the rearrangement is going to take place in this iminium ion. So, this will form just like our resonant structures. So, suppose if the positive sign is present here, so then we will get a double bond here, and if the lone pair of electron which is present in this nitrogen, it returns towards this. So, here double bond again restores to form this intermediate product, and these two are resonating structures. As the lone pair of electrons rearranges or transfers from hydrogen to carbon, so here the rearrangement is going to take place, thereby to form two different products. In the next step, we are going to conduct hydrolysis. That means, so this product which has been obtained here, so this is hydrolyzed. When we hydrolyze it, so here what happens? So clearly, so the amine group, I may call this as a primary amine, NH2 is a primary amine. So this will separate with a single bond, thereby forming a hydroxyl group here. Again, simultaneously hydration and dehydration is going to take place. So, this is a very interesting step here simultaneously. So, that is why I am representing it as a minus H plus and plus H plus. So, one H plus is going to get eliminated, at the same time another H plus is going to attack or abstract this product. Okay. So, here so in this what happens is so the hydrogen is going to be separated or broken down. Okay. And next what happens, one hydrogen will be added to this. In the next step, so here ammonia is eliminated. So, this ammonia, so when this bond gets broken up, so here NH3 will be removed. So, that is why I have written here minus NH3. So, this ammonia will be liberated. So, again what happens is in this step, so hydrogen is eliminated, one hydrogen is eliminated. So, thereby, so this will break down, this bond will break down to form CHO group in this para position. So, that is why this is the final product which is called as para hydroxy benzaldehyde. Okay. So, this is how the mechanism goes in the Gattermann synthesis. So, it looks a little complicated, but if you understand it in a stepwise manner, so definitely you will be capable to write the mechanism. So, you have to practice it, write it again and practice, so that the mechanism will become very familiar to you and understand the arrow marks. So, because while writing the mechanisms in organic chemistry, it is very important to write and use the arrow marks in a proper way. Okay. So, this is all about Gattermann synthesis. And the next is a Mannich reaction. So, the Mannich reaction, it consists in the condensation of ammonia, primary amine or a secondary amine with formaldehyde and a compound containing at least one hydrogen atom. So, compound containing at least one hydrogen atom means definitely the examples may be the ketones or beta ketoesters, nitroalkanes, phenols, etc. So, these are the examples of the compounds which contains at least one hydrogen atom. The reaction is usually carried out in acid solution. That means it is very essential to maintain the acidic nature throughout the reaction procedure. The essential feature of the reaction is the replacement of the active hydrogen atom by an aminomethyl or substituted aminomethyl. So, this is what is called as a Mannich reaction. Mannich reaction mechanism begins with the formation of an iminium ion. Okay. So, this is a reaction. First, let me explain the reaction and later on we will go on to the mechanism part. So, the example which we have is when phenol, okay. So, xylenol is a phenol, it belongs to the phenol groups, okay. The example is xylenol. I have taken xylenol. So, any phenol will proceed the same type of reaction. When a phenol is treated with formaldehyde, so HCHO is the formaldehyde and NN-dimethylamine, okay, so this is NN-dimethylamine in the presence of hydrochloric acid. So, that is because while giving the introduction only I said, so the Mannich reaction is usually carried out in acidic conditions. So, that is why, so the presence of hydrochloric acid is very important here. It undergoes amino alkylation to give Mannich base. Okay. So, when phenol, so xylenol is a phenol, is treated with the formaldehyde in the presence of NN-dimethylamine, okay, with hydrochloric acid, it undergoes amino alkylation. So, this is because this is alkyl group, this is a alkyl group which has got a amine group, amino alkylation. It gives a base which is called as Mannich base. So, this beta dimethyl aminomethyl xylenol is called as Mannich base. So, the reaction involves two steps. If we try to understand the mechanism of Mannich base, so we can classify it into two types. The first one is formation of imine salt by the reaction of formaldehyde with amine, and the second is electrophilic addition of imine salt to phenol to give the Mannich bases. So, just like how we saw in the Gattermann reaction mechanism in the same way. So, here also what happens is first the formaldehyde and dimethylamine, so they both react with each other, so to form imine salt. So, how the imine salt is going to form? As I said, Mannich reaction mechanism begins with the formation of an iminium ion from the reaction between formaldehyde and the amine. So, here if you observe, so this lone pair of electron which is present in nitrogen, so it is going to make a bond with the carbon of formaldehyde, thereby to get this product. So, here just like the previous reaction, simultaneously dehydration and hydrolysis is going to takes place to form CH2 NCH3 CH3, and this is the hydroxyl group, that is OH. Next again, so this product is treated with hydrochloric acid. again the rearrangement is going to take place. So, here water molecule is eliminated. Okay. So, this is H2O. So, when you treat it with hydrochloric acid, so here water is eliminated. So, thereby forming CH2, and here double bond has been restored. Okay. So, this is because the lone pair of electron which is present in the nitrogen, CH2 double bond N CH3 CH3, and this takes up a positive charge here since it has formed double bond here. So, here nitrogen will have a deficiency. So, that takes up a positive charge, and the product which is obtained is called as imine salt. So, in the second step, as I said, electrophilic addition of imine salt to phenol to give the Mannich base. So, this imine salt, so it easily goes and attack with the xylenol. So, here, so again the rearrangement takes place as usual. Okay. So, that CH2 will be attached here along with the alkyl group or methyl groups. So, along with amine. Okay. And here the hydrogen is going to be eliminated, thereby to form a Mannich base, or it is also called as a beta dimethyl aminomethyl xylenol. Okay. So, in this way Mannich base is obtained, and this is the two step mechanism which it involves. And our next topic what we have to see here is, so I will complete in this session only because another 5 minutes. So, in my next class we can start with ethers and epoxides. So, that so aryl oxyacetic acid, so these are also phenols. Okay. So, these are a class of phenols. So, how they are synthesized or how they are obtained? So, when phenols react with chloroacetic acid in the presence of alkali, okay, NaOH, sodium hydroxide for example, it gives aryl oxyacetic acids. So, this is very simple reaction. So, this is phenol. When phenol is treated with chloroacetic acid in the presence of alkali, sodium hydroxide, phenoxyacetic acid is obtained with the removal of sodium chloride. So, in this way we are going to obtain aryl oxyacetic acid. So, method of synthesis of aryl oxyacetic acid, you need not to worry about the reaction mechanism and all. So, here if you understand the method of synthesis of aryl oxyacetic acid, that is enough from the syllabus point of view. So, this is just a representation. I do not know whether you can read the words in this or not. So, if you read it, then it is well and good, otherwise listen to me. So, the experimental setup will be like this: a Bunsen burner, to that heating mantle is kept and a round bottom flask is used. So, in this round bottom flask, so I have taken 1 gram of phenolic compound, a mixture of 1 gram of phenolic compound and 3.5 ml or cm cube of 33% sodium hydroxide is taken in 100 ml round bottom flask. Okay. So, to this what we have to do, 2.5 ml of 50% chloroacetic acid solution is added. Okay. A little water is added to dissolve the sodium salt of the phenol. The round bottom flask is loosely stoppered and gently heated on a boiling water bath for an hour. It is cooled and diluted with 10 ml of water. Then it is acidified with dilute hydrochloric acid and extracted with 30 ml of ether. Okay. So, extracted with means, so what the reaction mixture is obtained after heating it for 1 hour in a water bath. So, we have to cool it, and to that 10 ml of water is added again to dilute it, and then we have to acidify it by adding dilute hydrochloric acid, and it is extracted to 30 ml of ether. That means we have to take 30 ml of ether in a beaker. Okay. In a beaker, if you take 30 ml of ether, and to this you have to add drop wise, that reaction mixture you have to add it to drop wise, and constantly you have to stir it. Next, the ether extract is washed with 10 ml of water, and the aryl oxyacetic acid is extracted by shaking with 25 ml of 5% sodium carbonate solution. So, this is to purify it. Okay. So, once after extracting it to the ether, you have to take that extracted ether into the separating funnel, and in that separating funnel you have to add 25 ml of 5% sodium carbonate solution and shake it thoroughly. You have to do the workup procedure, that means to get a pure aryl oxyacetic acid you are washing it with sodium carbonate. So, here the sodium carbonate is going to remove the excess hydrochloric acid content which is present. So, that will be removed, and then the sodium carbonate extract is acidified with the dilute hydrochloric acid and the aryl oxy acid separates out. It is filtered off, washed with water, dried and recrystallized from aqueous ethanol. Okay. So, in this way the method of synthesis of aryl oxyacetic acid is carried out. So, this completes our chapter 4.1, that is phenols and reactions and reactivity of phenols. So, in my next class we will understand about ethers and epoxides. So, what are ethers and epoxides, and what are the classifications, and what are the different chemical reactions of ethers, how the ethers are going to act with the acids, and how they react with the oxidation or elimination or estimation of the number of methoxy or ethoxy groups in an ether by Ziesel's method. So, all these things we will see in my next class. Okay. So, thank you dear students.